So, this week, this will be something slightly different. No Believe in Boyt this week. Instead, I'm going to be putting up my run through the Win a Trip to London challenge. So, in the previous Win a Trip to X challenges, I had done pretty poorly. I did bring my Paris team to one of them, so that may have been why. I brought EV to another one, and then I can't remember what I brought to the other one, and I went X3 with that. So I think I brought my Cloister team to that one. The one I brought to Sao Paulo, and I went X3, losing the final round to miss cut. So, wanted to try and at least make cut this time, because I had done so poorly in the previous ones. But I'm going to be using a slight variation of Zelda's second place Worlds team. It is the same 6, but I'm pretty sure every single thing, apart from maybe Xurkitree. Xurkitree has the same moveset, so it's different EVs, but everything else has a slight twist onto it. So, let's get started. First round against Celastavian. He's going to be running Raichu, Coco, which could be a bit awkward, since I don't actually know the matchup with this team. So I have practiced a little bit with this team on the ladder before the tournament, so I do know somewhat how the team is supposed to work, but let's get into it. So I'm going to lead Ninetales and Garchomp, because I was expecting his Coco and Raichu lead, so I thought that being able to threaten straight away with Garchomp would be good, but he's just going to taunt my Ninetales to stop any Aurora Veil, but I'm going for an Icy Wind here, because I figured that if I just Earthquake as well, I am definitely getting something from the turn. So I do, luckily, get my Icy Wind off before he substitutes, because if he'd have gone for substitute, he wouldn't have got the speed drop. And I do just end up Earthquaking myself, which does take out the Coco, and does a nice chunk to the Kartana, and since the Kartana's got its speed drop, which was fortunate, winning the speed tie, or most probable speed tie, then I can get the speed drop and outspeed with my Ninetales and my Garchomp here, so I can threaten the Earthquake onto the Kartana as well. It is most likely going to knock it out with the Hail Chip, because it is close. Well, actually, we didn't find out the Earthquake damage, did we? It was Icy Wind damage on the substitute, so ignore me. But I do threaten with an Encore here, because I do have Encore on this Ninetales as well, so I can Encore the substitute from the Kartana, and he doesn't bring in Tapu Fini here, so I'm liking my position. He's going to switch out his Kartana into his Raichu, but it does turn out he is a Scarf Fini, so that's not so good, because I do just lose my Garchomp there. And I do Icy Wind, because it would have done nice damage to the Kartana, it would have caught anything that switched in, and it does reduce the speed of this Scarf Tapu Fini. It's probably going to still outspeed my Xurkitree here, and I'm going to switch out my Tapu Lele into my Tapu Lele, which I don't know, it was a bit awkward here, because I do get the Thunderbolt KO on the Fini, which I knew was guaranteed, but he does crit my Lele here, and I do just survive that round of hail damage. So maybe not switching out the Ninetales would have been the play, because I wanted the Ninetales in the back so that I could threaten the Icy Wind onto the Kartana in the future, and say that he won the speed tie in that situation when he came back in. Then I would sacrifice my Ninetales for Xurkitree to be able to get a free attack that turn. But switching into Lele, not the play there, because I am now down to 1 HP. The crit not quite putting me into hail range, and if we let the turn go through, then you will see, it does say 2 more turns of hail, but that actually only means 1 more turn, because when it says 1 more turn, the hail will run out and not hit your Pokemon. So if my Lele can survive for 1 more turn, then it will make it through the hail. But it is actually a Choice Scarf Tapu Lele, so I can't protect it. If I protected, then it would get KO'd to the hail. So I am going to switch out into my Ninetales just to burn that last turn of hail, so that I can definitely threaten the knockout on either of his Pokemon. I am going to protect my Xurkitree, because I'd be fine if Ninetales goes down here. He's going to double protect to try and get the hail to knock out my Tapu Lele, but this is a nice position now, because he's going to Leaf Blade and win the speed tag against my Ninetales. But if I go for a nice, no, I believe I went for an Encore onto that substitute, no, on the Protect of the Raichu, not the substitute. An Encore and a Dazzling Gleam did cover most things. The only thing that had gone wrong there was a Z move Raichu. He does forfeit there, not revealing any more information, but going for the Dazzling Gleam and the Encore into the Raichu was pretty safe, because my Tapu Lele was scarfed and then the hail was gone. Then I would have been able to threaten the knockout onto the Kartana with my scarfed Tapu Lele, and then his Encored Raichu couldn't do anything. Even if it was Z move in that situation, he could have only knocked out one of my Pokemon with the Z move, and then the other one either outsped him, which if it was Tapu Lele left, if he attacks into the Ninetales, the Lele would have outsped and KO'd. And if he attacks my Lele, then I could lock him into Protect for the rest of the match, and then just slowly Icy Wind him down. So that was quite a safe play, but quite a good turn 1, winning the speed tie. I do know that his Tapu Fini is Choice Scarf now, so that's good information going into the next match, so let's get into it. This time, he's going to lead with Tapu Fini and Raichu, so I do know that it's a Scarf one, but I'm going to bring my Mandibuzz this time. because he didn't bring his Raichu Koko last time, so I feel pretty good leading with it. But he does fake out my Mandibuzz, and I do reveal that I am Choice Scarf here because I do outspeed his Tapu Fini. But he is going to chunk my Mandibuzz, but here I did expect the Tapu Koko switch out, because then that would give the Raichu its Surge Surfer. But I would be okay with this, because I'm still targeting the Tapu Fini. If he stays in, it's Scarfed, so it can't protect, it's guaranteed to get the pick up the knockout, because we've seen the damage it did before. If he switches into Tapu Koko, then I'm getting a huge amount of damage onto it, and he can only Thunderbolt one of my Pokemon here, so I would be sacrificing one of the Pokemon to get the damage onto the Koko, and that could be significant damage. But here, I'm going to catch the Koko with the Moonblast, and he is going to reveal that he was Z-moves, so Encoring him would have been a bit awkward, but he does stoke Spark Surfer into my Tapu Lele, which does give me my Tailwind, which is really good. Even though the Raichu outspeed, he has shown Protect on his Raichu, so I'm pretty confident that he doesn't have Hidden Power Ice or anything, so I will be able to get this Earthquake and Roost off. And there's no Sash on the Raichu, so Roost was a very safe play from Mandibuzz. Still outspeeding the Kartana, but the Raichu will be able to get an attack off. Even with my Psychic Seed in the electric terrain, Raichu's going to do a lot to Mandibuzz with the Earthquake, but not with the Earthquake, with the Thunderbolt, and Garchomp's going to Earthquake to KO the Raichu, but I do know that Tapu Fini is Scarfed. This Texonic Rage is absolutely guaranteed to KO it, and if I Roost as well, the only thing that he could have done there was Sacred Sword my Mandibuzz, and he would have had to cool the Roost there as well. And I do take this match pretty comfortably, because I'm in a winning position now. I can just Tailwind and even just win with my Mandibuzz, even if he was able to take out my Garchomp. Not sure what item he was on Kartana, because he did have Substitute, which is usually on the Z-move sets, but maybe he's Scope Lens, we don't know, never found out. But yeah, I'm going to take that match quite comfortably, and we'll move on to round 2 as well. I'll be doing 2 rounds per episode here, apart from one where I'll have to do 3 to fit everything in, but for now we'll just stick with 2. So I'm going to be going against Krizza in round 2. He's got a Murkrow, which could be a bit awkward, but here I'm going to lead with Mandibuzz and Lele against his Kartana and Xurkitree. Now I'm liking my position, because most Xurkitrees can't take a Psychic in the Psychic terrain. So I can just go for a Psychic into a Xurkitree. Even if he goes for something like a Smart Strike into my Tapu Lele, then I will be getting Tailwind with my Mandibuzz, and that will still give me a lot of momentum even if I lose my Tapu Lele here, because if he gets the Beast Boost as well, then Foul Play will threaten the knockout straight up onto the Kartana. So I'm liking my position. I'm going to go for the Psychic into the Xurkitree, but he actually reveals that he's a Choice Scarf Kartana as well. I do take out the Xurkitree with the Psychic, so it's not going to be a bulky one. But that's a bit awkward here, knowing that he's Choice Scarf, and he didn't Smart Strike my Lele turn 1, which was really good for me. Probably expecting the Protect Tailwind, but I can just safely double up onto this Kartana because I do know it's Scarf. I'm also going to double up onto the Garchomp, which does go for Texonic Rage and knocking out my Lele, but with the double up it is able to KO the Garchomp, and he's just left with his Murkrow against my Xurkitree, my Mandibuzz, and I can't remember what I brought in the back, because I don't need it. I'm just going to bring in my Xurkitree, and he's going to forfeit. That was a pretty fast match. Like, we were inputting our moves pretty fast as well, so this round went by very, very quickly. It was quite funny. But this will be the second match, so if he leads the same, knowing that he's a Scarf Kartana, he does lead the same, so I'm going to lead with my Arcanine and Tapu Lele. And this puts the Intimidate onto the Kartana, meaning that a Smart Strike won't KO my Tapu Lele. So I can threaten the knockout on his Xurkitree with Psychic because he can't knock out my Lele, and I do threaten the knockout on Kartana with a Flare Blitz here. So he does lead exactly the same, which is really good for me. So I'm going to Psychic into the Xurkitree and Flare Blitz Kartana. He does go for Smart Strike, and he gets critical hit. So there goes my plan. So I would have got just under 50% on the Tapu Fini. My Lele would have survived, and I would have KO'd the Kartana. So that would have been a really nice position. But here, I'm going to Helping Hand Tech Rage into the Tapu Fini. I did expect a Xurkitree Protect there, because it did seem like it would be quite obvious, but he's going to have Hidden Power Ice on his Xurkitree, which makes things super awkward, because I've only got Arcanine and Mandibuzz left, he's got his Murkrow, and I'm going to get a Flare Blitz onto the Xurkitree, but that's not quite enough, because he's going to be Electrium Z, knock out my Arcanine, and he's just going to be able to take the match with his Xurkitree now, because I can't knock out his Xurkitree unless I get a return critical hit, so that makes up for the Smart Strike critical hit at the beginning of this match, so we take those. Kind of evens itself out, because I would have still had my Tapu Lele and chunked the Tapu Fini, meaning that I wouldn't have had to Tech Rage it, or even just, even if I did Tech Rage it, I could have got a Flare Blitz onto the Xurkitree that turn, putting it in range of moves in the future, but we take those. And that's going to be 2-0 for me in this winner trip to London challenge. So I will be putting up all the rest of the matches. There were 8 rounds, and then there was Top Cut as well. So maybe a little bit of spoilers as to how well I did in Swiss, but oh well, maybe you followed along while it was happening. If you didn't, then you're going to find out how I did in all of the matches individually at least. So look forward to the rest of the matches. Thanks for watching.